This video is Claudia Beamish, MSP for Labour, dealing with child historic sexual abuse and persecution for the state. Paedophile organisations licensing child exploitation. This is not to be misconstrued or to be accounted for as the Police Service of Scotland. The Police Service of Scotland is a completely different entity altogether, and nothing to do with this, although it's all about them. So, what we've got is paedophile organisations licensing child exploitation. Who are they, people? Well, it's everybody from pig-shagging Prime Ministers to warmongers, criminals, insurance companies in Europe, social work departments, the Police Service of Scotland, and before it amalgamated into the Police Service of Scotland, courts, Procurator Fiscals, Lord Advocate's Office, Amnesty International, everybody that I've actually contacted in the last 10 years. Put it this way, if I've ever been before you, or if I've ever had reason to speak to you in the last 10 years, then I've got a recording it, and I've told no one.
Don't forget me when I'm gone.
Now, everything you see in this video, the pieces to camera, the pieces to audio, where I narrate, is getting done before the meeting actually happens. So when I'm anticipating being ignored and everything, this is only because it's the pattern of behaviour that's happened all over the place. The reason we came to this village was to contain what the police were doing to us, and what came out in the trial for the sheriff not to act. He's also complicit in everything. Down at Lanark Sheriff Court, it's live and present at the moment. Every legal challenge that's ever came against me has been dropped, flung away, it's fell one way or another. I've fought every challenge in the court, I've been in the courts for the last 10 years. They've not got a successful conviction on me yet. That's been lawful and legal. Name.
Voice recording on the 27th of the 2nd, 2015. Got to see the Claudia Beamish MSP, but the trouble we're getting. We can't even go to Tesco's, we can't even buy food at our own shop, we can't go on buses, we cannot do a thing. So it's time for everything to stop now. This persecution for the state. Now, when I went to the secretary earlier on, she was interested in Kimberley being there, she wasn't interested in me, so they spoke to the police, and I'm going to get a bad reaction here, she's going to speak to Kimberley all the time and try and keep me out here. That's what's going to happen here. You'll see in the buttonhole camera, very little will take place with me, and she'll look at Kim and try and solve it in a way where authorities deal with it and doesn't actually give us remedy at an effective, at a domestic level, with effective remedy, redress and accountability for everything that's happened in the last 10 years, and the compensation that's coming our way and the peace of the lives that we're due now. This woman's got a responsibility to put emergency accommodation, protective custody in place, and that's what we're looking for here today. But just by the impression I got for the secretary earlier on, see, they're not going to be interested in anything I've got to say, and they're going to be wanting to listen for Kimberley. You ready? Let's see if they're welcome. So was it?
Nicola Sturgeon was in 100 days notice. I emailed her on her first day notice. I would have been the first email she ever got. Nothing's been done. No ministerial intervention, oversight or anything by virtue. It's Schedule 4 of the Legal Services Scotland Act 2010 have been completely ignored. I mean, you look at the sex abuse inquiry just getting started now. The day is the 4th of the 10th 2015. So we go to the office. You're Claudia Beamish. It's an absolute disgrace.
It's unbelievable.
Hi, I'm Claudia.
Hi, Claudia.
Hi.
Amanda Queen.
Hi. Hi. I'm Kimberley.
Would you like us to bring your seat?
I think I'll grab one here, but we need to rearrange things a bit. Yeah.
I'd like everybody to watch all of this, just to realise the amount of information this woman takes and nothing happens. Most of the videos are an hour plus, but you need to endeavour through them, because this is your pension, these are your children, these are your relatives, these are your people we're trying to protect. I can see the country in the next 10 years, and that's what I'm trying to prevent, along with thousands of other people. And these thousands of other people are alive and kicking in the police, the social services and in the judiciary. There's judges sticking their necks out now because they realise something really serious is wrong with Circle, Group 4 and how they're amalgamating into the police service of Scotland and the police in the UK as a whole. Police pensions are going out the road, the police are leaving the police force speaking about this, social workers are speaking out about it, judges are speaking out about it, the politicians are speaking about it, there's left-wing angles all speaking out about this, and Cameron is just shagging pigs and taking us into war crimes that you wouldn't believe, offer finance and profit. So you need to listen to everything that there's going on here. You need to see what's been going on, because this is not just happened to me, this has happened to thousands of other people, sexual abuse people, this has happened to thousands of their relatives of victims who've been trying to highlight this, but nothing's took up case on it, nothing's happened on the scale of me. But anyway, this is just blethering at the initial start of it. Let's get into the interview now. I'm just explaining Kimberly's disabilities and how she doesn't understand things and she should say yes to anything.
But Kimberly, do you feel quite comfortable with, if we may use Christian names?
So we're just getting through the formalities here. We did find out through this recording that it was a David Wilson that they had spoke to in the police. And Gary Lassie, her due, she did say, well, maybe it wouldn't be the police authority, it would be the right one to go back to with this, maybe we should go higher. She did comment that, but then she was saying, I'm not taking this persecution of the state thing, but let's go for this and let's listen to this.
I'm
going to be a gran.
She's talking about being a gran and congratulations and stuff. All happens, we're all polite, we're all amicable, everything's going fine. But we're actually sitting starving at that point in time, but this is our last ditch attempt at doing anything. Near the court at Lanark, sheriffs are complicit in the abuse, PFs are complicit in the abuse, and the reports that they're writing that I'm obstructive in the courts, and they're piling hundreds of plainclothes police and uniformed police into the courts for my attendance. They're giving me star chambers, they're not listening to any of my motions, they're not taking any of my paperwork, they're not dealing with anything in accordance with the jurisprudence of the court or the rule of thumb. They are absolutely running amok, they're running a riot. I'm just not wanting remedy, address and accountability for the victims that I represent. I'm also wanting effective remedy, accountability and redress for the way we've been treated in the last 10 years, because this is 10 years and I feel like I've been in the cold. They've ruined every address everywhere, they've ruined absolutely everything. Watch all the videos. Watch all the videos. Here we go now.
I'll get my hat or I'll freeze.
They're just finding her seating here to get around to talking about this. Now wait and see how many times she deliberately
it's very nice to
cuts me out.
And I'm Claudia.
Sorry, is it just 2 minutes? Yeah.
Yes, just.
If you just wait there, it's just 2 minutes. He was going to go, so I was
No. No, I wasn't clear. Sorry. No, I was just asking. It's James, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking James to wait next door because it was you that came in and saw Sarah and made the appointment to see me. And so I need to know that just 2 quite straightforward things. Firstly, that you feel comfortable with James being in here with you.
Yeah.
You would like that to happen?
Yes.
Right, okay. So that's the first simple thing, because we don't want to we want to be clear about things, and so that's very helpful that we know that. Good. Right, and Sarah's going to just make a note of that. Good. And then the only other question really is just is James your carer in just because he started to support you and care for you, or does he have an actual sort of is he registered as your carer? Do you know?
He gets like carer's allowance.
He gets carer's allowance. Okay, that's very helpful.
But he started looking after me after my dad passed away.
Right.
It's like was my dad's friend, so he started looking
I
after
see.
me after
Right.
my dad.
Right. Okay. Good. Right. Okay. And tell me, I used to teach in Lead Hills. Whereabouts do you stay?
Just across from the shop.
Oh, just from the shop.
Yeah.
Right. Which is there a shop again? Because this was long time ago. I taught there about 20 years ago or something, you know.
There's just a wee shop next to the hotel.
Oh yeah, right next to it now, isn't there? Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. And how long have you stayed there?
About a year and a half.
Okay. Right. So you probably know some of the people at all, but
Some.
yeah. Okay, that's great. So we'll get James to come back in then. It was just to be sure that you were happy with him being here. We weren't sure what. So he definitely gets the carer's allowance.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we're a step along the way. Right. Okay. So, is there a particular issue or something that you want to tell me about? Because what we have to be clear about is just what sort of area you want to discuss, because there are some things that I'm able to talk about with you, Kimberly, and other things that I would have to refer you on. But I want to be clear that I am very keen, as you come to me and to our office, and I trust Sarah and Lindsay absolutely, just so you know, as my staff, and they're very experienced. But I need to be clear what it is you want, because there are some things I can help with, but there are some things that I would have to pass on. But I'm not going to just let it go and pass you on like a parcel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to make sure that whatever it is, that I help to see it through. But there are certain things I'm trained to do, certain things I'm not trained to do, and certain things I'm allowed to do, and certain things I'm not allowed to do. So as long as that's sort of clear, then I'm here to listen. So would you like to tell me what the particular thing is that you'd like to tell me about? Would you like a glass of water?
No?
No? Right, okay.
It's quite hard, so I'm not quite sure where to start actually. Oh, like 10 years ago when my dad first passed away, James came over the children's home and there was an incident where a police officer shouting from the letterbox for me to kill my mum.
Say that again, a police officer?
Shouting through the letterbox for me to kill my mum and things. That went through the court and just fined like a £900 fine.
I'll come in here to put a bit of furniture around the facts there. Kimberly went to normal school, the normal state school, but she was bullied terribly because she was a bit different. And there was a police officer, Kenneth John Doyle, who was systematically brought her home, but never actually interviewed anybody and stopped the abuse. And the father complained to the teachers, school, the council, social worker.
Sorry, when you say stop the abuse, I'm not sure what you mean by stop.
There's locked in like see how you get like the old fashioned bucket shelters and your bucket goes into like a wee room type thing on its own. I was locked in them and just spat
At school?
everything.
She had a terrible time at school, and the police that would bring her home would say, "It's all in your head, Kimberly," because when she was younger she heard voices in her head. And they had her down with what was coined as early learning difficulties in the 70s. My experience, quick synopsis in mental health: my mother went to Bill's Hospital when I was 3. I've been dealing with mental health all my life.
But I need to stop you, because what we need to get to before I can even have a conversation with Kimberly and you supporting her as her carer is I need to understand, is there a particular issue or a particular problem or concern that you would like me to consider taking up? Because that's what I need to know, because if it's a serious issue, then I mustn't be given history, I mustn't be given information, because if it might be something that you want to take up with other agencies, and I'm perfectly happy to support you with that, but I need to know, you mustn't be telling me a history yet. Let me finish. You mustn't be telling me a history and concerns that lead up to something, and you know, it's not that I don't want to listen, it's that I may not be the person in the end who you should be telling this to. So what I need to know is what it is that you think that we might be able to help you with. Is there a specific thing you think we might be able to help you with?
Yes,
And in what way?
It's persecution for the state and torture. We've been persecuted for 10 years and we've been tortured for 10 years and we've failed to get effective remedy, redress, accountability at a domestic level anywhere. 10 years ago we started to highlight historic child sexual abuses. I've got 4 victims under my care. None of them.
Right, but I'm still saying to Kimberly,
But
what?
that's pretty much what it is.
That's what it is. It's persecution for the state and torture. We've got the European
Because
precedents.
we've been, like, myself and James, along with a few other people, have been trying to highlight the sexual abuse.
Have you
issues,
trying to highlight?
the sexual abuse on children and that. It's like everywhere we go, we get looked at strange.
We're shunned everywhere.
Folk are treating us completely just not right.
We got on a bus this morning.
Right, no. I've got to,
agencies.
Kimberly, I have got to understand, are you wanting to talk about a specific case with me, or are you wanting to make a general comment about something I can consider, which isn't to do with yourself, but with the state, which I can consider whether I want to do anything about? Now, there's a very important difference, because I'm either taking up something that I have to consider whether you want to take forward because you need additional support, or because you want to go towards a prosecution through the police, or you want additional support for any issues around any abuse that may, and I'm not in any way preempting things, but may have happened to yourself. So I need to know if it's an individual case that you want to talk about. So let's take it a step at a time. Is there an individual thing that you want to make a complaint about? A personal thing?
Just the full thing altogether.
She wants
Is it not? James, let me just try to listen
That's
to
so
Kimberly.
full thing. Doesn't matter where we send to get help, they're treated the same.
Right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that things have been difficult for you. Is it?
There's incidents where James has had his thumb hanging off, cut on his face. All the evidence is there to show like folk have attacked him, and he's the one that goes to jail.
You've been locking me up for 10 years for nothing. 148 legal challenges and no convictions. They've wrecked our lives. We're hounded at
Most
every house.
recent one, he was attacked in the house.
Right, but you're telling me a lot of information. What I need to know is there a particular thing?
Kimberly doesn't understand where you're coming from, dear. And I think what's happening
No, I'm
is...
not dear, so
sorry,
let's just be clear
I
about
forgot
that.
your name.
Okay,
Kimberly
but I'm not
doesn't-
dear anyway.
I'm actually a bit lost on what is it you're wanting from us, because what we're needing to do, because of the circumstances in which you're in, is discuss the entirety of the whole thing, and maybe the MSP could then maybe say, well, I can deal with this, that and this and that, to actually single the listen down to what is it you're wanting. She wants to make an allegation against her brother for early childhood sexual abuse. She wants to make an allegation against the police for failing to do it. She wants to hold the local authorities to account for failing to put an effective remedy and redress at a longevity time, which is now torturous. We've failed to get effective remedies before.
Sorry,
No,
James,
no,
you
no.
need to slow.
There's all these things though, Claudia. There's a million and one things that she's not understanding. She'll never give you an answer here. She can't answer that one single thing. With 10-year historic abuse for the state, the police have been arresting me time and time again. Yesterday we went to buy a pie. I know it's history, but
No, I've got to stop you. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I have to stop you.
we're looking for protective custody. We're going to the Russian consulate today.
Right.
You're our last chance.
I really have to stop you because this is too serious
It is.
for Sarah to be in a position where you list a lot of things, including
It's a
sex.
serious...
Let me finish, please, James. Including an allegation. I only use the word allegation in a neutral way. Let's be clear about that. Of possible sexual historic child abuse, and then a number of other issues that you have concerns about. Now, some of those are things I can deal with. Some of them are things I can't. I know what my remit is.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's not to fob you off in any way, but I am not able to deal with even some of the things that you listed. I can refer you to people who can, but there are some things I can't deal with. Now, I've got to take from Kimberly what she wants to deal with. If you want to have an appointment with me about the issues that you want to raise about yourself, that's a
I thought
separate
that's what was happening
conversation.
today.
I did make
been up all
the
night.
appointments for both of us.
We went through hell to get here.
Well,
Yes.
So I did say to the lady out
Yeah.
there that the appointment will need to be for the both of us.
right, but I needed to clarify whether it was. I can't
Yes.
take 5 different cases at once. You know,
But
one
it's 10,
from
it's
you,
10
one-
years of failures for the state.
Right, but just a minute. I can't take 5 different cases, including an allegation of historic child abuse, in what is usually a half-hour appointment. Now, if people have to come back, there are appointments this afternoon, or we can have another appointment. But I can't. You know, this is an initial. You're talking about 10 years, James. This is an initial appointment
Yeah.
to understand what it is that you would like me to consider. Not the detail of things, it's what you would like me to consider. There are some serious things out here that have come out already, right? And I need to understand what those issues are, not the detail of 5 or 6 different things in a rushed way that, for instance, if I give you an example, I don't deal with the council issues. I can refer you to a good counsellor who does.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, we've got to take it a step at a time
Yeah.
and not go into the detail in what is going to end up being far too rushed over serious issues. Do you understand, both of you, what I'm saying?
We do understand. I understand. It's just the time is pressing in a way where Kimberley's ready to be evicted. And I know this is maybe not your remit either, but Kimberley's about to be evicted, and I've raised an action that takes it straight to the Supreme Court, and they're just walking right over the top of us and going ahead to evict. They've already evicted me, and Kimberley's under the Equality Act has got full-time care registered as, and they didn't pay any attention to it and evicted me. Kimberley's sitting in a house with no heating, there's no running hot water.
Right, so let's try and prioritise things. Let's try, and I don't know if I can help with that, but let's try, I mean, do you two want to have 10 minutes together to talk about what things are the most important things that
No,
just privately that you want me to consider taking up? Because I can't take up 10 years of history in this interview, but I can look at what things.
What's happening?
Say that again.
See,
The 10
No, let
years
Kim-
are
please let
all
Kimberly
looked
speak.
into what's happening
Yeah,
happening now.
yeah.
So you need to take the 10 years into account to deal with the issues now.
I mean, the whole 10 years is under a title of persecution for the state and torture because of the longevity, a failure to get effective remedy at any domestic level by any body that's supposed to be there to implement statutory obligations. You know, the local authorities, the police, all the service providers have abused us along the way, and it's doing it to the point where I'm a paedophile and I'm violent and I'm dangerous, and I've lived my life as a recluse for 10 years. I've never left the house for 10 years. And I managed to accumulate all these charges. And it's people for Rotary clubs that I've never met before. Claudia, I know we can't go on about history and you know what to talk me to talk like this, but imagine me having witnesses against me and I turn up in a suit and I interview you and you sit and tell me James Fraser came into my pub and he done this and he done that and he done that, and I go, did he? Right then. And I'm sitting there, they've never seen him before in their lives, they're just making this up in the back of the police. And I've been going to prison for years for it and I've never had one single conviction. I deal in law, I've read law for 30 years. I've got a compatibility issue under Schedule 6.
Let me say that, are we in this interview, are we talking about the issues that I can consider whether I can help you with, Kimberly, at the moment, or are we talking about the issues that you're raising, James? Because I've got to see my way through where we are to deal with, look at what
I don't know what you can do, Claudia, that's
right,
a problem.
well, I don't want to lurch at something, but of the things that have been mentioned, not mentioned, that's the wrong word, I take that back. The things that have been raised, it's trivialises it to say mention, I apologise to you.
It's okay.
Of the things that have been raised, you may be, as I understand it, subject to imminent eviction. Now that seems to me that it's something that is happening at the moment that I may or may not be able to help you with, but I could certainly not only look at the agency that should be considering this, but also through Sarah as my caseworker, ask for that to be looked at in detail and speedily. Now that's one thing. You've also raised historic child abuse, which is a very serious allegation, and I don't know if that's something that you're saying that you're looking at disclosing today, or is it something that has already been...
I looked into getting things done about it and I was basically ignored.
Right.
And I've been trying for 10 years.
Okay, okay.
Sorry, I just didn't catch that last bit, Kimberly. You'd looked into it.
I went to the police and told the police that I've basically been raped, and they didn't want to listen. They just sat me in a room for a good 2 hours and then passed out the door.
Okay, now if those are issues, because you were the person who first came, you know, I'm looking at Kimberly as somebody who needs to be supported at the moment.
She does.
That's all right, and you're here as her carer. If we can take that as where we are at the moment, James, please. If that's in agreement with you both, and then if we need to, which we may well do, have another appointment to look at the issues that
I'll make an appointment today.
Right. Is that acceptable? Because I can't deal with everything at once.
Yeah, I understand.
I can't do that.
I had agreed to make a video for you.
Right. Well, can we just stick with what we're doing? Kimberly, that's two issues. Are there others that you want me to consider from your perspective? Are there things that you want me to be thinking of?
Just the abuse by like police, council, social work, courts. The way, I don't know if this will be for James or not, but the way the prison have treated them.
We're going to talk about you today, if that's all right, because I can't do everything at once.
Just the way they've been abusing your carer, the way they've been abusing you.
That's
Every.
basically it. The way
I've got to help her.
Yeah, right.
I've got to help her. She's struggling.
But I've had like folk that haven't even basically never spoke to them in a life, and then we went up to Wade House, folk that we've never spoke to, never even said hi or anything to, are basically shunning us.
And saying the same things that's happened at every address.
Right. So let me. Can we look at the? Can we look at the two issues at the moment? You're saying that. Can we look first of all, Sarah, at the historic abuse, and we'll deal with the eviction today because they're both. Now, as far as the any issue around abuse goes, if you want to disclose that, it's very important that you do that to a police liaison officer. And
Spoke by police, just basically ignored me.
right, no, just a minute, please. It's very important that you do that to a police liaison officer. I'm prepared and able to speak to a police liaison officer and ask that you, if you wish to do this, that you are given an interview I'm also prepared and able to ask if it's possible for that interview to be done here. I'm not allowed to be at the interview, but it could be here rather than in a police station, I think, if it would make it a more appropriate place to be. But what I can't do, if it's something that you may want to take forward and look to see whether it's appropriate for it to go through the court, I can't take information from you on it. I can't do that because it would actually risk
Could jeopardise the prosecution, Kim?
yes, it could. So if it's something that you
I think
Look,
Kimberly's
if
going
it's-
to need
let me finish. If
assistance
it's something
in this
that-
interview. If I'm not applicable as a carer to assist her, then somebody else is going to have to assist her. I must
Yeah,
insist
no,
just
no,
now
no,
she
I'm
doesn't
just
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
right,
She's not taking in what you're saying.
right, okay.
And,
Well,
and what,
okay, that's fine. I've said it
what
to
I
her
find,
now.
Claudia-
But if you want to explain it to her, that's fine. I'll give you the time to do that.
What I tend to find, Claudia, is that see every interview I've been in the last 10 years, I'm immediately I'm not allowed to speak on their behalf. And that's a breach of the Equality Act, man. So what I'm going to do, Claudia...
I know the Equality Act very well. I've been convener of equal opportunities, and I respect your rights. I respect Kimberly's rights as well. I'm simply saying it first to Kimberly.
I understand,
That's all.
Claudia, but
That's
the
the first
difficulty is
step.
you're dealing with a disabled girl who's not taking what you're saying.
That's
right?
the first step. That's all I'm saying, James. I'm simply saying, can you please acknowledge that's the first step? Where we go from there...
We're having difficulty with this first step, though.
Yeah, well, let's
You've got
just...
two issues, and what we've came in to ask you is for protective custody immediately. The building that we're in isn't fit for purpose. We're being abused up there. The food are selling us out of date with pies. The bus drivers are phoning ahead and getting
Right,
us.
well, let's take this one issue first that we're dealing with at the moment, and then the eviction issue, okay? Those are the two issues that I think we've agreed we're dealing with now. So can I ask you, if you want to speak to Kimberly with or without us, to explain to her what it is that I'm saying, that if she wishes to take forward I'm talking to you, James.
I think what we're going to have to do is I recognise what's going on here, so I'm going to get a psychiatric nurse to come in at this interview, Kimberly, who can speak on your behalf. Because this is a terrible shame that this girl's been responsible for it, to answer all the questions, and for you to assess and judge what needs to be done for a disabled girl. I've got the answers. I'm telling you, there's persecution for the state and torture. Nobody's listening to a word that anybody's saying. The idea of Kimberly sitting in an interview with a police officer is never going to happen. The police service of Scotland that need to be held to account for what they've done in the last 10 years, they've manufactured evidence, they've prescribed this before the courts are complicit in the abuse and the behaviour at the first instance, the High Court's complicit in it. There's a compatibility issue that I thought you would maybe hopefully see through and oversee to the European Court, to the Supreme Court, and then the European Court. That's under Schedule 6 of the Scotland Act 1998, Section 288 ZB, 288 AA5.
Right, I have to stop
all these
you.
things.
I have to stop you because you're
really anxious.
you're misjudging the situation to
Where
some
do we
degree.
get help?
Look, James.
We're needing help.
Can you listen, please? You're misjudging the situation to some degree because I simply said it to Kimberly because Kimberly, I have to say it to you first.
But see, when I made the appointment, I did say
my carer will
my
need to be
carer will need to
That's
be there.
fine.
I won't understand.
I simply had to say it to you, and now I'm saying to you, James, if we're talking about this possibility, and of course, if Kimberly wants or you feel it's appropriate as her carer for you or someone else to be with her, if she wishes to take forward any possibility of historic abuse allegations, then of course
that's in our alley with every allegation
there should be somebody with you, Kimberly, and
it should be me because it's me.
Right, okay. I'm simply saying.
But you need to speak to Kimberly.
Let's not misinterpret what I've tried to do, and I'm sorry if it's come over wrong.
It's what I'm used to.
No. What I did was to show the person who is Kimberly the respect to say this is what it is. I'm now saying to you, do you want to talk to her on her own? Or
No.
do you want to talk to her, do you want to talk to me about it, with Kimberly's agreement about this specific issue? Let's stick to what we're doing, which is an issue of historic child abuse, as I understand it. Now do you want to, don't tell me the details, please, because if you want to be with her when the police are either here or somewhere else in agreement, and I will help with that negotiation, or if she wants a psychiatric, excuse me, I want to finish. If she wants if she wants a psychiatric nurse with her as well as yourself, then I will make sure that if those are the people that Kimberly wishes to have with her, if she wishes to disclose something, then I will make a careful note through Sarah that that is the case. Now, I simply spoke to Kimberly, as I'm repeating myself, and it's important that we're clear about this, because she's the person that it's about. Now, I'm now saying to you as her carer, James, is this something that you think Kimberly wants to take forward, this specific issue?
She's been trying for 10 years.
Right.
My father tried for a considerable time before he died. She's been refused access to any sort of a hearing everywhere. The police will know inform her. Kimberly's not spoke about it yet, so I can't. But there's several allegations.
Right. And it's important that we don't speak about this now.
No, every period she was refused the police.
Have they been spoken about with the police before this? Or is this the first time that this...
Before last meeting?
Yes, before this meeting. They have been spoken about with the police. Right. Okay.
This I can speak about. One of the main police officers that was consistent in abuse and failing to do anything, he was subsequently sacked.
Sorry, I don't understand. I'm sorry, I just don't understand what you mean by consistent in the abuse. I don't understand.
He was failing to investigate the beatings that Kimberly was receiving. Right.
Try not to tell me about the detail.
Yeah, I would.
But we have to record that.
There's also
Sarah, if you can.
There's also.
Can you just wait a minute, because we do have to record this, because I'm taking this profoundly seriously. Be reassured.
This is the biggest case in Scotland.
Well, be reassured. I'm not judging that. I'm simply saying I'm taking it seriously. Okay. Right. So, Sarah, if you've got... So I'm asking people not to speak about the case itself, please. I know that's difficult, because it's obviously very challenging.
You may think I'm ready to slip in to speak about a detail of the case. I'm not. I'm really legally
But you have just told me something about it, so try not to. Okay. You see what I'm saying?
It's just that Dad tried to report it.
Yeah.
But other than the historical stuff, there was also additional rapes that she reported, and they fell on deaf ears as well, when she was a teenager.
Right. And is your understanding that Kimberly wants to proceed with a consideration of prosecution?
Yeah.
Is it? Does she want to make it a police matter?
Yeah. She can't move on.
Right.
She's stuck. She's still 15 in her head. And the terrible... I'm not going to speak about any detail, but we've had Claudia, I've recorded every minute of my life for the last 8 to 10 years. Every court appearance, everybody that's interviewed us, and the evidence is irrefutable.
Right. So, is it the case then that you, as Kimberly's carer, supporting Kimberly, that Kimberly wants to take this issue forward?
Yes.
The specific issue we're talking about, the historic child abuse.
Yes.
And the rape case.
Yes.
Right. Okay, can we just pause then, because that's very important and serious, and I would like us just to take a little pause while Sarah makes sure she's got the notes correct.
We could grab a tea.
You certainly could.
Take 10 minutes to discuss, and you just could grab a tea, and we can come back in, say, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that happy for everybody?
would you be able to have a tea just there?
Yeah, just across the road.
Or just here we can offer you one if Lindsay comes in here.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then it's part of the same interview. I think we need to keep it part of the same interview. If you need a break after that, and I say to you that I have not had. To be completely open with you, I have not had an example in the past. I've been an MSP for nearly 4 years. I've not had an example or a case which is about historic child abuse where there has been a complaint that the people who've come to me, such as yourselves, have felt has been ignored. I need to take advice about what I do about that. I can't do that now while you're here because I don't know if I can get the right person to take the advice from. Because if it's a complaint about being ignored by specific police officers in the past, or about historic child abuse and a rape, or as you highlight, more than one rape, I need to take advice as your member, for both of you, as your member of the Scottish Parliament, about what process I have to follow in order to support you in finding what direction you should go in, who you should approach with my support.
Well,
do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I need to check that very clearly, and I need to have written advice about that, so I can understand it, and I can then support you.
We do have, and I thank you for that, but we do have every agency that's available in Scotland, either on telephone call, email, a recording, a video somewhere or another where they just wave their hands with us. Everybody.
I did ask Margaret McCulloch.
You did ask?
MP Margaret McCulloch for help, and our response back was just basically no.
The council evicted in 2 days. No eviction notice. She packed her stuff out in the street and took the keys off her. Left her in Grangemouth. She was 21 at the time. 19. I've dated this, but these are details.
Right. Okay. So I think that part of the conversation, I think we'll leave, and thank you, until I have taken advice about who to approach, which will be early next week.
We'll be homeless with them.
No, I'm not talking about the eviction. We haven't got to the eviction yet.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to ascertain whether it is acceptable in these circumstances that the case that we're talking about, the historic child abuse, that you've disclosed that to me, Kimberly, with your support, James, and I need to take advice about where I should take that. And I'm not going to let you down on that. I will find out where I should take it.
I can feel you, Claudia. I feel people. I know you're going to think I'm crazy. The police have written reports to say that I'm crazy, so...
Right. Well, all I'm saying is that I will take advice, and what I want to know is if you both think, I'm going to ask you both before we close this part of the interview, if you both think it is reasonable and acceptable for us to find an answer to that by early next week, and find a proper answer, rather than, I have other appointments today which are important. I have people coming in with cases, I have to go somewhere in the middle of that, at lunchtime, and I think to do this issue justice, I need to find out who I should be speaking to. And I may be able to sort that out today, but I don't know if I can sort it. I don't know if I can get the appropriate answer today. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, is it acceptable and reasonable that we leave that? I'm repeating myself, but I just want to be clear that you both feel in these very difficult circumstances, that you both feel that it's reasonable and appropriate to be in touch with you early next week about how we proceed on this.
Definitely, yes. We've got nothing else to do. I've focused 24/7, 10 years on this. There's nothing else in their lives that are on this. We have no other life, Claudia, none.
So, Sarah, can we say that we're leaving that part of things and that we will find out who it's appropriate to approach? And we're going to just take a short break, have a cup of tea, and then for your sake, as well as mine, because I'm taking this very seriously, and Sarah's been taking a lot of notes and she needs to be accurate.
I'm just a wee bit anxious because I feel like I could sum it up in a nutshell for you.
Yeah.
To get the umbrella, because the new it's like the early childhood sex, that is an important thing. That's a major thing for Kimberley, but if it's proceeded after that, as a result we try to highlight it. There's no one in authority that we've met in the past. We've been to the European Commissioner of Human Rights, we've been to the MSPs, we've been to MPs, we've been absolutely everywhere. We've been emailing Nicola Sturgeon since the first, and this is our first 100 days in Parliament, and we've still had no reply back, nothing. We've had absolutely no response. So we do see it a failure to get effective remedy, accountability for any domestic body. So the idea of going and working with the police on this issue is a problem. Social services.
That's why I'm going to take advice. I can't proceed any further with it, and we've made that agreement. So can we leave that part of it, and can we take a 10-minute break?
Yeah.
So that we're sure we have time to talk about the imminent issue of the eviction. Now, just before we stop, can I ask you, Kimberley, or through James, is it do you live in a council property, or is it a private landlord?
Private.
It's council.
It's private.
Private. Sorry, I do apologise. Right. Okay. So then, is it a housing association or is it actually
a private landlord?
It's a private landlord. Right. Okay. So can we take the information about that when we've taken a break? Then?
Yeah. So,
okay.
Thanks, Claudia.
Okay. Right. Now there's now somebody else who's come in. So let's just wait until. If you want to have a chat privately, then.
Look, you know what I need to do, Claudia.
No, I don't mean privately with me. I mean with Kimberley, because we're going to stop now for 10 minutes. Right. So we need to stop. We've dealt with one thing, but I'm just saying there's somebody else in there. So if you just wait a minute, because what I'm saying is, if you and Kimberley want a bit of privacy. Do you want privacy or do you just want a cup of tea?
I'm just going to have a cup of tea.
Right.
Because I recognise you're taking the issue serious, but I'm not trying to say it's a bigger issue, but it's got of equal importance and it's got more severity than now, because the child is obviously historic. There are points of severity that's happening with all different authorities in the state.
Right. Well, let's just take it a step at a time.
What time is it, Claudia? Just note the time we'll take the break. Do you put it there?
Time. Got a time on the phone here.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right, it's 20 to 1.
20 to 1.
12:30.
Is it 12? Right. I was just going to leave the door. Those can just get there. It's fine. Just going to leave this door open because I wasn't to have an appointment now, and Lindsay's got something she has to do now. So, so Sarah, we'll just stop the interview if somebody comes in, and Sarah will just ask them to sit out there. Okay, but we leave the door open so we can hear.
Okay.
In case the door opens, the other door. Right. Okay, so Kimberley and James, can we get into the heart of the eviction issue, which I know that you had some very brief advice about previously. I think from yourself, Sarah. And have you been to the council offices about the possibility of eviction and homelessness? You haven't. I think, was that what you suggested?
Yeah, I think when you first came in, you explained it was a private landlord, and I think if you remember, it was Lindsay and then I came in later, and it seemed to have there was something to do with the court, that you were waiting for a decision from a court, and you may not remember that, and that might be my misunderstanding, because I kind of came in halfway through. But I think Lindsay and I felt that the best advice was to start thinking about temporary accommodation and to see where that would, at least to be prepared
I'm only
for the eviction.
All I'm doing is asking Sarah to say what she said before, so we're clear about how far we've got.
So our suggestion was to go and speak to the councillors, the council office down in South Bennell. And I think you thought you might do that, but...
So that's as far as we've got. Kimberly, do you want me to ask James to explain where we are with things, or do you want to do that yourself? What would you like to do?
I'd like James to explain.
Right. So, James, what we need to know, please, is where things stand at the moment in relation to Kimberly's lease, what the lease is, and whether there has been an eviction notice served or whether there's a threat of an eviction notice, so that we can together make a decision about what should happen at this point. So if you can tell us just those points clearly.
Terrified in case I go rattling on about everything else.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll stop you if you don't mind, because we may need to get action
fast,
fairly speedily.
Yep.
Okay.
Crux of the matter is Kimberly succeeded a tenancy, a 60 months contract, 5 years, starting on the 24th of June 2013.
Right, so let's just get that down.
Sorry, Kimberly exceeded. She
got a tenancy on the 24th of June 2013. 12 it was, 2012.
2012, right. I
think so.
And that was at Lead Hills?
30 Main Street in Lead Hills.
And that was a 5-year
a 5-year
contract?
Lease, yeah.
Right, which is sometimes quite unusual with a private landlord. It can often be initial 6 months and then...
6 months short of your tenancy.
Yeah, but this was a 5-year contract.
Because of Kimberly's disability, wanting to settle in
a
way of life it's been, how things have been.
Right.
So the landlord was quite happy, because he's away to France, you see. He's just accepting the money, he's got various money going into his accounts. So he's in France and doesn't know he's even lost the property. And it's sold into the... I'll start from the beginning.
Right, so no, what I really need to know is not whether he's losing the property. What I need to stick with is
Kimberly's got a 60-month
Kimberly's
contract.
situation now about eviction. Am I making sense?
Yes, but there's an anomaly. There's the court's position is that the landlord's been evicted, the property's been taken off him. Kimberly has then
succeeded. When did that happen? You seem to be very good with dates.
This was about May the 23rd this year.
Last year, yeah.
Last year, sorry.
That is a quibble. I know what you mean. Okay. Yeah.
So there was a 3-month tenancy put in place by Optimal Legal. After that,
who were the administrators after the?
Who was acting on behalf of GE Moneylending, who were the heritable property proprietors, basically.
The heritable property.
Well, GE Moneylending was the mortgage lenders to Charles Nelson, the landlord.
Right. So Charles Nelson is the landlord.
Yes.
And he stopped being the landlord on that date, and it was repossessed?
It was repossessed. But the problem we have here is there was maladministration with the financial department of the local authority that caused Kimberly's benefit, which was a...
What I really need to know for the initial thing is, has there been an eviction notice served on, without wanting to frighten anybody, what stage are we at the moment? Who is the landlord at the moment?
Well, the title deeds with Sarston says it's still Charles Nelson. His bank statement says he's still paying the mortgage. But Optimal Legal's reporting something completely different to the court, and under the Conveyancing and Feudal Land Reform Scotland Act. They can come and put in the eviction in the heritable property in 1894. They can come in with that double-edged thing, put in for the eviction.
Right, so let's get the
If it was
names
a
of both.
6 months.
So it's a.
So, sorry, just so I get these. Optimal, is that?
Optimal legal.
That's what I'm saying.
Optimal.
That's
Optimal
Right.
legal.
Optimal
Optimal legal.
legal. Now they say they own the property now.
No, they're the solicitors that are acting concerned with GE moneylending.
GE moneylender.
Money lending.
And is that the mortgage?
That's the mortgage company in England.
So is it the mortgage company that owns the property now?
They're alleging that they do, but there's discrepancies there as to whether they
Right.
do or not.
Okay. So without getting into the legal issue at the moment, what we need to try and sort out today is.
The court would
Can you
understand.
explain, James, for me, is there any eviction notice served on Kimberley at the moment?
Yes, there is.
And can you give us who served it and the dates, either now or you know, Sarah can take the information.
Kimberley's back at court on the 17th of March. She's got an appointment to see a solicitor on the 10th of March. The solicitor on the 10th of March will be acting on a written instruction to raise a compatibility issue, and that prepared the whole
Right,
issue.
so why? I might have misunderstood then about it being by Monday. I don't.
Well,
What we need to ascertain is, do we need to ring today to get Kimberley an appointment with the homelessness unit at the council?
No, because that would be detrimental to Kimberley's health. Kimberley's entitled to the tenancy up there. There's been maladministration on behalf of the
Yeah, but
council.
what I want to do is I want to make sure
She's not
that
victim
Kimberley
of
has a roof over her head over the weekend. Are we
Yeah.
talking about this weekend or are we talking about the 10th of March?
The 10th of March.
Right. Okay, so that's
But
where we are.
the solicitor that's in place is the first person in Scotland in 10 years has been prepared to act for Kimberley. Now, once she receives my compatibility issue, she's going to withdraw from acting. Because my compatibility issue is failure to get effective remedy accountable redress at a domestic level.
Right. I really am not a lawyer, and what I have to understand, James, is what I'm looking at is whether we need to make any formal approach to the council, because I don't deal with council issues, but I am able to make a formal approach to the council to ask them to consider her as someone who might become homeless, and that is better to do sooner rather than later.
That's already been
It's
done.
been done. There's a statutory obligation for
Right,
GE
I
money
understand
lending.
that, but I'm asking you then, tell me what's been done.
The statutory obligations they failed on to put in provisions for prevent homelessness. They've never given
No, but what I'm asking you is,
What
I'm not being clear.
Right.
I'm not being clear. What I'm asking you is, has Kimberley been to the council
homeless unit? No.
homeless unit?
No, they've never invited her. We've been doing.
But is there a threat to her home to the degree that you want that instigated?
Well, she isn't even rehoused because there's no heating, there's no hot water, and there's no electricity. And it's been like that for the day we moved in. And that's how we've been living. So if you, to understand the temperaments, anxiety and stuff, we've no heating, we've no hot food, we've never ate that for a year and a half. And the local authority's got a duty of care for a carer and somebody who needs stability. And everything that they should have done, and I mean I've very well read.
Right, so does, at the moment,
she's not accommodation that's fit for purpose. There's no hot water, there's no heating, it's actually collapsed at the back. The cottage is fallen down into a pit.
Right,
There's
so
like
there's
like a wee metal thing at the back, and there's water just
Aye.
spilling out at
The water's been pouring out
constantly.
for about 2 years.
And I don't know who to say to. I
Yeah,
try say to.
that's not nice,
I try
I'm
say
sorry.
to.
The council, Optimal Legal,
No,
GE
legal
money
and that, and I
lending.
got told that's not
Told
an
the
issue
court.
for us.
You
I
were
was
told
like,
the court.
right, so who do I say it's an issue to?
So, is my understanding that the housing that Kimberley's in at the moment is not fit for purpose
No.
in Kimberley's view and your view?
In accordance with the Housing Scotland
Yeah,
Act and tolerable standards,
right,
is just
right.
no there.
Okay.
Scottish standards for windows, double glazing,
Yeah,
doors, pathways underfoot, drainage surface water.
right.
And
let's stick to the bare bones now, because I do have to stop at
I understand.
fast because I have other people to see.
I mean, I think we've gave you enough.
So, yeah, but what I want to work out is, in view of the concerns about a pending court case on the 10th of March, is it appropriate to register
Kimberly's homeless? No, because that would be detrimental to her health. She couldn't go through that. She requires a stability. The stability I'm managing to maintain up there by bottled gas and cooking and boiling water that way.
Right.
But having said that, we've now both got skin infections that's disrupted.
Right.
And we believe it's coming through the burst pipes and the water we're using.
Am I understanding, I don't want to put words in your mouth, am I understanding that what you're saying is that you wish to continue with this tenancy?
But it needs
and
to
you
be,
want the place sorted?
It needs sorted.
Is that realistic, James?
Well, a quick synopsis.
It can happen in England, so I don't see why it
happens in
can't
every
happen
European
here.
country.
So
But
the red and
But
red,
if the landlord is
see a quick
in
synopsis.
administration, no.
Yeah.
Let me just, because I really have to stop at 15:15, or I'm not being fair to other constituents,
I
and
understand.
I have to do that for today. If the landlord is no longer, let's not go into legal niceties, please, again. If the landlord is not the landlord in anything other than name, and I understand that legally he still is in name, and he's in administration, and you're going to take a case to court, then is it appropriate to be looking for something else? Now that is something that it may be that Kimberley needs all sorts of support in order to do that, but we can't have a situation, surely, James, where somebody needing an appropriate
I hear where you're coming
housing
from.
is due to a concern about your vulnerability, Kimberley, which I respect. You know, we have to be open about this. You're saying she can't do that, so we're coming up against a barrier that's stopping us looking to move forward.
If I could make a quick synopsis, and I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it in 30 seconds, in fact.
Go on, make it 30.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Quick synopsis.
Yeah.
Landlord is unlawfully lost to tenancy. I'm fighting a compatibility issue that will show that Optimal Legal has the processes of court have been adhered to the pre-act requirements with the compatibility issue and everything has been adhered to.
We're not going to take these notes at the
No,
moment.
no
Let's
notes.
just formally state that we're not going to.
Not taking any notes at the now. This is a quick synopsis, me rambling for 30 seconds. So the landlord's due his property back. I can do that through a compatibility issue because I can show that Optimal Legal didn't adhere to the pre-act requirements of the Conveyance of Land and Food Reform Scotland Act 1971 and the Heritable Property Act in 1894. They two acts brought together can supersede a 6 months assured tenancy where a 3 months assured tenancy gets put in place. We've got a 5-year contract. That contract is protected by the Lloyd contract. I'm 30 years old, read in the Lloyd contract.
Right, I'm going to stop you because you've had your...
Right, 30 seconds.
Draw to a close.
So can you see where... So what we're aiming to do is get the succession back to Charles Nelson, the original landlord, and us to succeed in the tenancy agreement, but temporarily, under the House in Scotland Act, we're entitled to accommodation in a hotel until that's been done. And that's the way we're wanting to be going with this, because I've got these court cases coming up and I can't prepare for them unless I've got the adequate facilities. There's no electricity up there, there's no heating, there's no running hot water, and we've been living like that for nearly 2 years, and it has had an impact on our health.
Right,
But
I'm going to give you some advice because I have to stop now. My advice is, unless it jeopardises your case, which it may do, and that in the end will be for you and Kimberley together to decide that in view of the fact that the property is not fit for purpose and there is a concern about where the ownership is going to go, that it might be appropriate for you to speak with the council homelessness unit. Now, I can only give you that advice. I can't do any more today. If you want to do that, I can get Sarah, well, I'm seeing the next person who's now arrived, to ring the homelessness unit, and as we're talking about March the 10th for the case, I can ask her to arrange for an appointment for next week.
Great.
But
Okay.
are you saying that it could jeopardise your case? Because I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I do not understand if the property is not fit for purpose.
We should be away from there.
Well, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You're the one who's saying it.
This is the persecution for the state that I come back and speak
Right,
to.
we're not going to talk.
Yeah,
We're not going to talk about
not.
that now.
We have had.
Right, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to. The
But,
interview is about to end because I have other people who I have to. No.
It's
Let's
to
just do
explain.
this.
You don't understand something, Claudia, and you're interpreting what I'm going to say is going down the persecution issue, and it's not. To let you understand why we're still in that accommodation is
Right,
because we've
sorry.
had 10 further appointments with landlords who've accepted us. After we've signed the contracts, they've turned around and said to us, "Oh, we don't want you anymore."
Right.
And we went back and interviewed them, says, "Look, is the police preempted you into doing this?"
Right.
I can't speak like that. That's all you get.
That's it. And you get people who go like this. I don't want to speak about this.
Can we just stop the interview just for a minute?
Yeah.
Because that's. Right. So.
Or we would be out there.
Right. Okay. So. Are you and Kimberly wanting to discuss whether you want an appointment with the council, and if you want Sarah to take that up, and then let us know early next week? Because March the 10th the week after
Something that I
next.
spoke to like yourself and Sarah about was I came in and it's on Money Matters on the internet. It's going on about like receivers your rent and thing.
Kimberly, that's not an issue for the now. That'll open up a can of worms.
Okay.
G Money Lending didn't want to be a sort of receiver of rent.
Do you want
Yeah.
an appointment
With the council.
for Kimberly with the council?
For
Or
the
do you
both
want
of
to
us.
discuss that?
This is a two thing. This is not just for Kimberly. I'm here seeking help as well. I've been up all week and I've starved all week to come and make this appointment to relate certain things to you that I'm not getting a chance to speak about. And it just appears that it seems to be like every interview that I've had in the last 10 years that I've tried to speak about this, I'm shut up and the whole direction and focus is put around to Kimberly and she can't answer for herself.
Right, but James, you
Yeah,
have to make
it's-
an appointment with me.
I
I've got a
did.
surgery this afternoon. If you want to make an appointment to discuss your issues, I'm very happy to take an appointment.
I'll let you get back to
Later,
the other
no,
people.
just a minute. Don't do that, please.
I'm
Because
not.
listen to what I'm saying, please. I'm saying that I'm perfectly happy to make what is an initial starter appointment, which I do with everybody, in my surgery this afternoon for half an hour. Now, that's all I can offer at the moment, because I have other people to see. But what I'm saying is, let's not muddy the water, let's not muddle things up. We're talking at the moment about whether Kimberly and you want... Is it that you want an appointment together because you are both going to be made homeless? Is that the point?
That's the effect of it. I've already been.
So are you staying in the same house, if you don't mind me asking?
I am, but
You are.
I'm evicted. Kimberly stayed in my house for the last 10 years. It's Kimberly that lives with me. And there's no relationship there. That's another thing people get mixed up with. I just want to make that clear.
Right, so who has the tenancy?
It's a 50-50 tenancy. So there's 50% housing benefit paid by Kimberly and her estate, and 50% paid out of my estate. And that's been fraudulent.
No. Please don't go to another issue.
Yeah.
You have to understand that if I'm going to try and help you, I have to just take things one at a time. You have to understand that. Can you understand that?
I do, but see the
No. Let's leave it because I'm not going to go on with the interview anymore after this today.
Okay.
At this point.
Regarding the eviction is the council's basically, I don't know what they've done, but they've just not done the process right.
Right.
Which has put a stop to the housing benefit, which in effect has made the landlord sort of default his mortgage, but shown on his statements that he's still paying it. So I don't know what's going on.
So
there's been a major fault with the whole system.
Right. Okay. So you want the two of you together to have an appointment, which Sarah will
Yeah, but consider something.
deal with.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the interview now because I have people coming at 15:15. It's now 20 past, I think. Right.
Got no more to say. Got no more today. Got no more to play. Listen to the angels. Listen to the angels. Listen to the angels. Sitting watching little girl. Sitting watching in the world. Sitting watching crush the little boy. Sitting watching little girl. Little girl. Little girl. So you want to face your demons tonight. Everything that I could say